In the world of Japanese manga, few artists have stirred as much public discussion outside of their creative work as Ryo Tatsuki. Now retired, Tatsuki is a manga creator who first published a collection of stories in 1999 titled The Future I Saw. While the book itself was a modest work, it contained a chilling premonition that would later cement her reputation as a modern-day Nostradamus for a select group of followers. Her drawings and notes included a specific reference to a great disaster in March 2011, a date that would eventually coincide with the devastating Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. This apparent accuracy has granted her a unique and somewhat controversial status in the public consciousness. This single prediction, seemingly fulfilled, transformed Tatsuki from a simple artist into a figure of intrigue and mystique. Her followers, who often compare her to clairvoyants like Baba Vanga, began to comb through her past works for other hidden messages and prophecies. The internet and social media platforms became the primary vehicles for spreading her fame, with dedicated forums and video channels analyzing every frame she had ever drawn. The legend grew, creating a narrative that positioned her not just as an entertainer, but as someone with a genuine, inexplicable connection to future events. A claim that has generated both fascination and significant skepticism across Japan and Greater Asia. The power of her reputation lies in the tangible and tragic nature of the 2011 disaster. For many, the correlation was too specific to be a mere coincidence. It wasn't a vague prediction of general doom, but one that pointed to a specific month and year. This has led to a cult-like following that gives immense weight to her other pronouncements, particularly those detailed in the re-released and expanded editions of her prophetic manga. Her name has become synonymous with an uncanny ability to see what is coming, a belief that persists despite the lack of any scientific basis for such precognitive abilities, creating a fascinating cultural phenomenon. It is within this context of established belief that her subsequent predictions are received. Her followers treat her dream diary not as fiction, but as a roadmap of inevitable future calamities. This elevation from artist to prophet has set the stage for widespread anxiety surrounding her most specific and terrifying prediction to date. The legacy built on the tragedy of 2011 has created a deeply receptive audience, one that is primed to listen, believe, and most importantly, react to her warnings. The story of Ryo Tatsuki is therefore less about proven psychic ability and more about how a society processes fear and uncertainty in the shadow of past trauma. At the heart of the current wave of public anxiety is a prophecy of staggering scale. In her book, Tatsuki details a dream she had about a catastrophic event set to occur on a very specific date, July 5th, 2025, at exactly 4:18 in the morning. According to her vision, a massive fissure will violently tear open the seabed on the ocean floor, somewhere in the vast expanse between the islands of Japan and the Philippines. This geological rupture is predicted to displace an unimaginable volume of water, unleashing what she has called the last wave, a colossal tsunami that would dwarf previous disasters in its destructive power and reach. The details of the vision are disturbingly vivid, and have been a key factor in its viral spread. Tatsuki described the resulting tsunami as being potentially 3 times more powerful, or even 3 times higher than the one that struck the Tohoku region in 2011. Such a description paints a picture of an almost apocalyptic scenario, evoking images of entire coastal cities being wiped from the map. The prophecy has been amplified by online creators, YouTubers, and social media influencers who have dissected her words, often adding their own dramatic interpretations and further stoking the flames of public fear across East Asia and beyond. This prediction has resonated so strongly in part because Japan is a nation all too familiar with the destructive power of the ocean. The country's long and often tragic history with earthquakes and tsunamis provides a fertile ground for such fears to take root. The collective memory of the 2011 disaster, which claimed nearly 20,000 lives and triggered a nuclear meltdown, remains a fresh wound. For many, Tatsuki's prophecy is not just a fantastical story, but a plausible, if terrifying extension of a known and ever-present threat. The specificity of the date and time adds a veneer of credibility that makes it difficult for some to dismiss entirely. The prophecy's journey from a niche manga to an international news story has been rapid and powerful. It has crossed borders, finding particularly anxious audiences in nearby Hong Kong, Taiwan, and South Korea, where the potential fallout of such a disaster is a real concern. Claims that artificial intelligence programs like ChatGPT had somehow confirmed the prediction, though baseless, added a modern twist to the growing hysteria. The story of the July 5th tsunami has become a perfect storm of past trauma, modern technology, and a deep-seated human fear of the unknown, creating a palpable sense of dread as the date approaches. The reaction to Tatsuki's prophecy has been far from abstract, manifesting in tangible economic and social disruptions. The tourism industry, a vital part of Japan's economy, has felt a significant impact. Reports from May and June of 2025 showed a dramatic decline in travel bookings from neighboring regions. In Hong Kong, for example, flight and hotel reservations to Japan for the early July period plummeted by as much as 83% compared to the previous year. Airlines have even cancelled flights due to the sharp drop in demand, with photos circulating online of nearly empty planes flying from Hong Kong to Japanese cities, a stark visual of the prophecy's economic toll. This fear has not been confined to tourists. Within Japan itself, particularly in urban centers like Tokyo, there have been noticeable signs of public anxiety. Social media platforms like TikTok have been instrumental in spreading warnings, leading to localized instances of panic buying. Convenience stores in busy districts such as Shibuya have reportedly sold out of essential emergency supplies. Items like bottled water, non-perishable food bars like Calorie Mate, and portable disaster kits have been flying off the shelves as some residents heed the online warnings and prepare for the worst. Despite official calls for calm and rationality, the situation was significantly exacerbated by a series of real-world geological events. In late June 2025, a persistent earthquake swarm began rattling the Tokara Islands, a small chain located south of Kyushu. With over 1,000 minor tremors recorded in just a couple of weeks, the seismic activity kept the nation on edge. This culminated on July 3rd, when a stronger 5.5 magnitude earthquake struck the area, prompting authorities to advise the evacuation of nearly 90 residents on Akuseki Island to the safety of a local school playground. For believers in the prophecy, this swarm was not a coincidence, but a clear prelude to the foretold cataclysm. Interestingly, there appears to be a notable difference in the reaction between the local Japanese population and foreign observers. While some Japanese residents are clearly concerned, the most intense panic seems to be concentrated among tourists and online communities outside of Japan. Domestic news coverage has been more measured, often focusing on debunking the prediction. However, the combination of the viral prophecy, the recent earthquakes, and the lingering trauma of 2011 has created a potent cocktail of fear that has proven difficult to contain, demonstrating the powerful influence of such predictions in the digital age. In the face of mounting public anxiety, Japanese scientists and government officials have mounted a concerted effort to counter the prophecy with facts and reason. The Japan Meteorological Agency, the country's foremost authority on seismic and atmospheric phenomena, has been unequivocal in its stance. Ayataka Ebita, the director of the agency's Earthquake and Tsunami Division, publicly labeled the prediction a hoax. He and other experts have repeatedly emphasized a fundamental principle of modern seismology. There is currently no scientifically proven method for predicting the precise time, location, and magnitude of an earthquake. This message has been consistently echoed by the Japanese government, which has issued multiple statements aimed at calming public fears. Officials have stressed that while Japan is indeed a seismically active nation, any claims of an impending, precisely timed disaster are entirely unreliable and not based on scientific evidence. Complicating this message, however, is the government's own long-term risk assessment. In April 2025, authorities had issued a separate warning about the Nankai Trough, an 800-kilometer undersea trench, stating there is a 70 to 80% probability of a megaquake in that region within the next 30 years, a disaster that could be far deadlier than the 2011 event. Perhaps the most surprising voice in the call for calm has been that of Ryo Tatsuki herself. The manga artist at the center of the storm has actively tried to distance herself from the hysteria her dream diary has caused. In recent interviews, She has urged the public not to take her visions as literal guaranteed events. "Just because I dreamt it doesn't mean it will happen," she stated, advising people to place their trust not in her prophecies, but in the guidance provided by scientific experts and official government agencies. Her stance highlights the complex position of being a reluctant prophet in the modern era. Ultimately, the episode of Tatsuki's prophecy encapsulates a deep-seated tension within Japanese society. On one hand, it is a nation at the forefront of science and technology, with some of the world's most advanced earthquake detection and disaster preparedness systems. On the other, it is a culture with deep roots in spirituality and a history that has often seemed intertwined with omens and the supernatural. The widespread panic over a manga artist's dream, occurring today, July 5, 2025, serves as a powerful reminder that in times of uncertainty, the line between rational preparedness and superstitious fear can become incredibly thin.